knocked away. Marshall, Clark to the rim. An 11-0 Iowa run. As one of the arena cameramen got hit there after the bucket, and the officials stopped play.
Right here, this is Caitlin Clark all on her own, jumping out to double team. She sensed that she could get the steals, that she could create some havoc, and she did, and got the layup the other way. And let's go.
Gabby Marshall approves.
Way around. Rajah Caruth will take the white flag. 1 lap to go.
That's a great feeling when you got control of the race, isn't it, Phil? When you see that white flag, you know, if there's a caution now, so be it.
Yeah, the next flag's going to end it.
The 21-year-old out of Washington, D.C.
Just a great spirit, such a good kid. This is awesome.
His 30th truck start came up from the ARCA Menard Series.
Whatever you need coming to the line. Really proud
Just praying for it.
Execute all night.
There it is. Rajah Caruth wins it at Las Vegas. First career win, gets it done.
You ask about.
Talk to me about the emotions you're feeling right now.
Yeah, man, it's surreal. I thank you so much to INDYCARs.com and Mr. H for putting me in this thing all year, along with the men and women at Spire, man. They've had a lot of work this winter, and the decal shop's been working very hard too. So glad to get the win for Team Chevy. Can't thank my family enough. You know, so many people have helped me get to this point, and I can't believe it.
Walk me through the night. I mean, you didn't just go out there, you went out there and dominated a little bit, especially in the field with guys like Kyle Busch in the field, Christopher Bell as well. What was working for you tonight?
I mean, I just stayed cool. You know, we lost track position at little portions of the race, and we just stayed in the game. And it was just one step, one punch, one round at a time. And my guys had me a great stop, and we just executed. So there's more to come for sure.
Rajah Caruth, your winner at
Drivers, start your
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Drafting the Circus program presented by Sinister One Productions. My name is Frank Santorowski. I'll be your host for the next hour as we go over this weekend in racing and preview a big weekend coming up where we have all of the major series all in action. So joining me, I've got the whole crew here. I've got Richard, Lee, and Louise. Fellas, how we doing?
Good, thank you.
Not too bad. It's going good.
Doing good.
All right, yeah. So Formula One got their season off to a start, and you know, the results on the track are pretty much what was expected. Max Verstappen picking up 2024 where he left off 2023. So we can talk about the race, but there's a lot more in Formula One going on off track right now. So we actually have a little audio clip to introduce our Formula One section, courtesy of one of Richard's favorite musical acts. So, Keith, if you want to go ahead and play that, then we'll get into talking about the off-track drama in Formula One. Well, that was fun, courtesy of the great Freddie Mercury and Queen. Richard, well, that was your idea to play that, but certainly, scandal is the word of the day in Formula One. So this Christian Horner thing won't go away. We thought it was settled a while back, and then there came out text messages and emails and photographs and videos and all kind of stuff. And then, of course, Formula One journalists and pundits are great at writing their own narrative. I mean, they're every bit as good as some of these political reporters when it comes to, writing your own narrative or drawing conclusions without evidence. But, then on top of that, there's news with, Mohammed bin Sulayem. So, but Richard, I'm going to let you take it away since you are a Formula One correspondent, and let's just, pick a place to start and dissect this thing a little bit.
Yeah. So, you know how, like, when people sign contracts for employment, there's normally a clause about bringing a company or a sport into disrepute. I think we've certainly achieved that in the last couple of weeks. Let's start with the Christian Horner thing, and obviously we've got to be a little bit careful with some of the things we say. But the original allegations, the inappropriate behaviour towards a female member of staff, were investigated by Red Bull and a set of lawyers or barristers or whatever you want to call them, and they were found that he hadn't done anything inappropriate, and we leave it there. Christian Horner certainly has a slightly murky past. The fact that he left his first wife, who was pregnant at the time, to go off with a Spice Girl doesn't sit great in most people's sort of sense of how to how to behave. But hey, we can leave that.
It's a Spice Girl.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure his ex-wife, who was pregnant, was very understanding of that.
Or you could be Nick Cannon and just have kids with every person you've been with.
Well, this is part of it. So then, 24 hours after it was all cleared up, this dossier of text messages and photographs and all this sort of stuff comes to light, and it doesn't look great for Christian Horner, admittedly. If these are genuine, he still hasn't admitted that these are real. He also hasn't denied that they're not real, I don't think. But I think I think what we forget at times is and this is by no stretch of the imagination defending his behaviour, if it is true. We are very quick to judge people in the public eye. It's very similar to the Tiger Woods effect. When his scandal broke, probably 15 years ago now, everybody lambasted him. But these people are fans of NFL teams and NHL teams and NBA teams. I'll guarantee you that in every locker room, in every NFL team, and every NBA team, there's people that have done far worse than what Tiger Woods did. But they're not as high profile, they're not as public, it doesn't come out, they don't have this wider than white image, and they're an easy target. And to a certain extent, it's the same thing here with Christian Horner. At the very least, he's behaved inappropriately towards somebody that he knows, that he works with by sounds of things. If this is true. But I mean, a horrible thing to say. It's not uncommon. It happens every day in every workplace, around the world. Should it happen? Probably not. But we don't live in this utopian society, and things like this do happen. Now, where the issue would come is if he was using his position of power to influence this person, and I'm not going to get involved in all of that. These people are adults; they can sort this out for themselves. But then I think we end up with the bigger picture here. The bigger picture being, since Dieter Matterschmidt, the founder of Red Bull, passed away a couple of years ago, there's been a large power vacuum within the Red Bull Racing Formula One organization. Matterschmidt was the one that wanted to get involved in Formula One. He wanted to get involved in motorsports, and he was he enabled Red Bull to become what it's become in terms of a sporting organization, but he's also allowed or acted in a way as a bit of a regulatory figure for some of the other big egos within the sport. And now he's unfortunately no longer with us. Some pretty key players in that Red Bull team are now jostling for power. Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, and to a certain extent, Jos Verstappen. Dieter Matterschmidt's son, who's now the head of Red Bull, doesn't have the same passion for motorsport as his son did, but obviously values what it brings to the brand. So there's now become this power vacuum, and people are quite quick to try and fill that. And there is, I don't think it's a secret that Christian Horner doesn't get on particularly well with Helmut Marko, and in turn, Jos Verstappen. Helmut Marko is the driver development side of that, the personnel side of things. So the drivers do tend to be closer to Helmut Marko than they do Christian Horner. But and they were pretty quiet on this. And then earlier in the week, Jos Verstappen turned around and said, "Oh, Christian Horner's position in the team is destroying the team. He's ripping it apart. He needs to go." It's like, whoa, hang on a minute.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think his exact words were the team would explode if they kept him on board. Yeah. So
now, again, not one to judge a person's character, but Jos Verstappen is the one that had a 5-year suspended prison sentence for assaulting somebody at a go-kart track. He was also charged with attempted murder of one of his ex-girlfriends. And I think that although that was dropped, and there was another charge thrown in there of breaking a restraining order against another female. So Jos Verstappen is not necessarily the person you want to be taking relationship advice from, and judging people on their personal life. This is purely a power play, and they've latched onto this, and they're using it to their advantage. And I think, if somebody doesn't like the decision that Red Bull have come up with in terms of not finding Christian Horner guilty of wrongdoing, and they work for the Red Bull team, you either appeal the decision or you walk away if you feel that passionately about it. If you're that passionate about it and there is a get-out clause in Max Verstappen's contract, enable it. But I don't, I don't know. But it really, it's taken something that has been a potentially serious accusation against Christian Horner and turned it into a bit of a farce because it's so obviously now becoming this political pawn and power play by people like Helmut Marko and Jos Verstappen that it's lost all the significance in terms of any moral wrongdoing. And yeah, it's a real shame it's gone that way.
Yeah, I mean, and for Max's part, he's kind of done his best to stay out of it. You know, when they talked to him after in Bahrain, he said he didn't want to get into the politics of it, right?
Yeah,
and in the meantime, everybody's writing these stories that, you know, if Horner stays, Helmut's out the door, and Max is going to Mercedes and all the stuff. And that when asked about that, Max actually said, I've got no reason to want to leave Red Bull before my contract is up in 2028. Yeah. You know, he said the only thing that would make me think about leaving in 2028 would be if the performance of the car dropped off after the rule changes in 2026. So it appears that he is, you know, all business, and it doesn't really matter if Horner's there or not, right? But I mean, give Christian Horner his due. He's done a hell of a job with that team. Look at their record, you know. So and you know they're talking. You know, Adrian Newey's out the door, and you know, so again, like you said, it seems like Helmut and Jos and Horner really can't coexist together. But to a certain extent, you know, when I look at Christian Horner, my thought is, why stay somewhere if you're not wanted? You know, another team would pay him handsomely to bring his skills to the table, I would imagine.
But then it becomes quite a difficult play, doesn't it? So if you turn around and say, okay, he's going to leave, then is he leaving because of the allegations? And it becomes very tainted. And does somebody want to pick him up, you know, with all that going on? I mean, I think it would take a while. I mean, you look at, you know, other people that have had, say, a controversial history in Formula One. Sorry, you know, guys like Mike Coughlin, who was part of the Spygate thing. You know, he left and actually went to Michael Waltrip Racing and then went back to Williams. You look at Pat Simmons, who you know, was involved in the Crashgate with Renault, who left the sport and then came back to Williams. Bit of a theme there, actually, isn't there? But anyway, you know,
I mean, we could say the same thing. You mentioned NASCAR, where Ty Norris went away, and now he's back running, probably the future of motorsports management somehow. Still,
yeah, I mean,
and then he'll be at Williams before you know it.
Well, you never know. Yeah, but no, it's you know, it was you know, I think if he did leave, he wouldn't jump somewhere straight away. I think he'd go off and do something else. I think he would be tainted. He would be damaged goods right now. But yeah, I think that's one that it'll play out, and obviously something's going to give. You know, there's too much tension, too much friction there, and I think that's something that Dieter Matterschmidt was pretty good at managing and smoothing out. And also, you know, Red Bull is, you know, the controlling share of Red Bull is by a Thai investment group, and I think the drink originally was Matterschmidt's actually. Found the drink when he was on vacation in Thailand, you know, in the 70s or 80s. I don't know the exact background of it, but the Thai financial group owns 51% of the company. So to a certain extent, they do have the casting vote on this. So it'd be interesting to see how all that plays out moving forward. Yeah. But if that's not enough for Formula One, the president of the FIA, who Frank so elegantly pronounced at the start of the show, and I think you did it so well, Frank. If you could just you know, go run over his name again for us, just you know, just in case I get it wrong.
Mohammed bin Sulayem.
I couldn't have said it better myself. There appears to be an ethics investigation by the FIA, and he's been in. There's two suspect statements that he's made, or requests he's made of the sporting powers. Firstly, that they reinstated Fernando Alonso from his third place in the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix last year and remove his penalty, which was pretty cut and dry. It wasn't deliberate, it was accidental, but the rules are the rules. And the second one, this is the one that I think in a way is a little bit more interesting. It was how he requested the FAA not to approve the Las Vegas circuit last year. Now, there was obviously a lot of publicity around the Las Vegas race, and it turned out to be a pretty good race weekend, unless you were Ferrari and manhole cover. But it was this is the big thing that Formula One had been hyping up for a couple of years since they announced the race, and it got a lot of exposure. And here's the head of the FIA wanting them to ban the race. The interesting thing is, from my understanding, the Las Vegas race is the first and only race that Formula One management, owned by Liberty, have actually promoted themselves. Normally they'll get local promoters to promote a race and arrange ticket sales and the like. And the FIA and FOM just turn up and race. Whereas with the Vegas race, FOM were marketing it themselves, and they spent a lot of money on marketing that event. So then why would the head of the FIA want that race to be prevented from going ahead? That something's going on there. Whether, again, as a power play between FIA and FOM, whether as the head of the FIA there's some external pressure coming on here that's political, I don't know. But this is, to me, this is a way that whole Vegas thing, if this is proven to be true and there's evidence to show that he has pressured somebody into prevent, to not certify the track, then there's a lot of questions have to be answered and some pretty serious accusations here. And I would think that his position as the head of the FIA becomes untenable because, something is going on there that doesn't sit right.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell what it is. I really don't understand the motivation for that myself, but I'm sure there'll be more news forthcoming. And everybody from Jacques Villeneuve to, will have their little bit to say. To Gerhard Berger, everybody's got to chime in whether they're talking out their ass or not. So,
or Danica or Jensen Button.
That's right. Yeah, let's see what Danica thinks. So,
yeah, we can't wait for that to happen because it's going to happen.
Hey, look, I've got my Danica Patrick hat on.
Oh, I thought it was a Buddy Rice or just a general Ray Hall Letterman hat.
It actually is a Buddy Rice hat. Actually, Buddy Rice signed it, but Buddy and Danica wore matching liveries in 05.
Yeah.
So, but that's off topic. So Richard, we did actually have a Formula One race.
We did, didn't we? Yeah.
But no surprises.
No,
at the top of the order, 2 Red Bulls, followed by 2 Ferraris. And then the Mercedes and the McLarens and, Alpine at the bottom. So, Logan Sargent was last. So.
Yeah, he had a brake bias failure.
Yeah.
Max won. What happened in NASCAR?
I don't know. Wait. Hold on a second. Let's just mention this. That I'll mention this right now.
All right.
Until Sergio Perez wins the race, I'm going to continue the ongoing gag of the Johnny and then whatever it's called, the no good, terrible, very horrible meme thing, whatever it's called.
Right. Yep. So I'm looking forward to reading 24 of those this year. So.
I'm just happy I finally said something positive. I haven't said that since probably the Japanese Grand Prix.
Yeah. I mean, he was 23 seconds behind Max, but he was ahead of everybody else. So, and if Max is the team leader, what more do you want out of the guy, right?
Yeah.
But I think what I found interesting was I'll try and find the quote. Let's have a look. Where was it? Bear with me 1 second. It was quite a backhanded compliment, I think, is the phrase that people use, and it was Red Bull praises Perez for not getting destroyed by Verstappen in Bahrain.
20 seconds in Formula One is this being destroyed.
Yeah, that's
Even 10.
It's like, as I say, that is the definition of a backhanded compliment. If ever I've seen one, you did great. Yeah, you didn't get destroyed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we didn't have to break out the calendar to figure out what place you got.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
I mean, behind Max though, the rest of the field was pretty close. Pretty good race behind Max. So anyway, so let's move on to NASCAR then. So as you saw the clip at the start of the show, Rajah Caruth took his first win in the Truck Series. Bit of a historic win. A lot of folks are making a lot of the fact he's only the third black driver to win in a national NASCAR National Touring Series. But even if you factor that out, this is a kid who has a tremendous work ethic, and he's very talented. And he earned that ride, and he's certainly now showing why he has that ride. And ran a heck of a race and did a great job. Luis, you get a chance to see it?
Yeah, to point it out how significant was his win. And first of all, he won from the pole. And it's a Spire truck, which, of course, Spire has come a long way from being that fledgling backmarker about a charter that ran 30th on the weekly to now having a truck program that was practically Kyle Busch's motorsports old equipment, if I recall. He put on a good showing, and he showed that he's got the talent, and he's doing it as a college student. In fact, I think he had like homework due days after to where he's going for that degree. And when I interviewed him back in 2021, it was clear that his work ethic was always there. I always heard like nothing but positive stories from crew members through social media and vice versa. Even after he won that. This guy has that. Big NASCAR fan growing up. He's living the dream, and now he's got HendrickCars.com as a primary sponsor. Of course, he drove that one Xfinity race at Phoenix for Rick. He held his own. That's the thing about him. He's held his own and showcasing his talent, and I think this win will pay big dividends over time. Now, we can look at him probably, if he keeps it up, as a perennial championship contender. Probably in no time he'll make a couple cup starts in due time. I think this kid.
I think he'll be in this series for a good long time. He's a young guy with a great future ahead of him, and it's always exciting to see anybody get their first big win. Just the looks on the faces, the cheers from the team, the pats on the back. It's always just a great thing to see somebody get that first big win, get that get that monkey off the back there. So good job to Spire Motorsports and to Rajah Caruth team.
You should get a comment from Willie T. Ribbs on that one. I'm sure he'd have a.
Good old Willie T. Ribbs. I mean, oh gosh, I don't know if you folks remember we had Willie T. Ribbs on the show and we were talking about NASCAR's Drive for Diversity program, and Willie has some very strong thoughts on that. Yep, and then
didn't he just?
I was foolish enough to mention that Kyle Larson came out of the Drive for Diversity, and he said to me, he goes, "Now, since when is Kyle Larson African American?" I'm like, all right, hey Willie, let's change the subject. But but you gotta love Willie because he doesn't filter it. He tells you what's on his mind, tells you what he thinks.
There's no bushes being beaten around, is there, with Mr. Ribbs?
No, heck of a guy. And then he's been working with Formula One lately as the U.S. ambassador for Formula One. So, he's obviously big Lewis Hamilton fan.
I wish Willie T. Ribbs did the Vegas Center instead of Jared Leto. Yeah, I'm still not letting that one go.
Jared Leto, yeah. So, all right. So, was there an Xfinity race, Louise, there?
They're at Phoenix this weekend. Yep.
There wasn't one this past weekend in Vegas?
No, there was.
Yeah, there was.
John Hunter won. John Hunter Nemechek won.
Okay, yeah, I didn't get a chance to catch one. So then we had the Cup race, which...
The one race Toyota won.
Yeah, the one race Toyota won this year.
You didn't
John Hunter Nemechek won...
Yeah, it's the first non-Chevy win.
And maybe that's why they won, because I didn't watch, because every time I watch it, the Chevy wins.
If that's what happens, I'm going to pull the aerial out of the back of your TV.
All right, so let's talk about the Cup race. Lee, you want to chime in? Did you get a chance to watch the Cup race?
I did. It was Vegas is one of my more favorite tracks. I spent some time in the Las Vegas area and quite a bit of time at the track. And it's always a fun track. It was a Vegas race. Was really nothing overly spectacular about the race. It's, to me, it's just one of those cookie cutter tracks. It's a good track. I like the layout. I like the banking of it. It's, it's got a lot of redeeming qualities, but racing is just, it is what it is. It was funny to see Christopher Bell spin twice. The second time, absolutely nobody around him for miles and miles and miles. He was like running his own race, and he just ends up sideways. And so he,
you said that was fun to watch. Richard's right there.
It was like the most entertaining thing, I think, for me. Watching the race and Chris is sideways. I was like, well, that's a pretty drama thing to happen. But it was a good race. Kyle Larson, a W, so can't complain there either.
Yeah, and then of course one of the more odder instances, a very large trash bag found its way into the track, which found its way into William Byron's car, and inside that trash can evidently was a beer can that ended up inside his air filter. So that's one of the last things you'd expect to find when you're tearing down the car after the race. Oh, a beer can. Yeah. So no wonder the car is acting up. No wonder we're overheating. So, but that kind of derailed his day there. But so Chevrolet 3 for 3 in the Cup Series. Again, the manufacturer that did not bring a new car this year. So, Louise, Richard, you guys want to chime in on anything coming out of Vegas?
I think the biggest thing I can chime in about Vegas is the fact that it was the first true test of the year, because it's not a super speedway package, and we actually get to see who will sink and who will swim. And so far, Larson going back to back, dating back to last year when he won the fall race, he just was at a different level. And then Tyler Reddick tried, but Reddick pointed out that even with the current car, even with the current package, it's still the same dilemma. They've been battling for like what feels like the last half decade plus. Dirty air. You can try so hard, can't get by him in Reddick's eyes. And also the fact that we're going into the 4th race of the season, and we're just hoping we can have one race where we don't have a red flag. Obviously, the outlier this week is Chris Buescher's right front tire, the wheel, failed. The wheel rim came off, hit the wall so hard that it damaged it, that we had to halt the race once again this season, which we never had to open the first 3 races of the season since as far as 1990.
Yeah, and they had to stop to put a couple welds into the safer barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you're going to want to fix that,
Yeah, for sure. Just can I just go 1 week? No, just gotta go 1 week without one. That'd be great, because the way it's going, we're gonna have more than 20 this season, no matter how the circumstances go and unfold. Granted, it's a wall damage, which it is what it is. I get that. It's compared to other red flags where they can get silly and ridiculous more often than not. This one I can live with. We're going into the 4th race and just hoping no red flags, because otherwise we'll have counting the dual race, the second dual race. We're going on 5 straight races if we have one this Sunday. Fortunately, we haven't had a red flag in Phoenix since 2018. That said, last time that Vegas had a red flag was in 2018.
There you go. So we'll see. We'll see if the numbers add up. So, Richard, anything to add on Vegas before we move on to the next interesting NASCAR topic that I neglected to add to the list, but I want to talk about?
Go on. Fire away.
So the rumors of Honda joining NASCAR have gotten significantly stronger in recent days, with some folks saying it's all but a done deal as early as 2026 that Honda will be entering NASCAR. Now, what are your thoughts here, Richard? I know, they
can't really comment on that one.
but I mean, Honda's been kind of teasing this for, looking into this for years, right? And I guess the biggest question is, does this mean that if they do make this leap, right? Does that mean that they abandon their INDYCAR program, which leaves INDYCAR in quite a jam because they've only got the two manufacturers now. Or do they go forward with both since they have more or left Formula One, and supposedly, Ford is supposed to take over the Red Bull program, although I have heard bits and pieces that may be a loose arrangement subject to cancellation. So, but then again, it's hard to believe half the shit you read anyway. So,
yeah, it's just we'll see, and makes you wonder if no matter how hard Michael Andretti will try, will he look into probably going to NASCAR with Honda? Because I was trying to remember, I think they mentioned track costs could be a possibility. They could go to Honda, but question is who will be the first major team to jump ship? And there's also some people pointing out Stewart-Haas Racing as well, like Honda maybe, but it just depends on what Gene Haas has to say. Not so much Tony Stewart, but Gene Haas, as you saw, or anybody else. Because remember, Ford, if I recall, was responsible for not allowing Larson to go to SHR. Look where they at right now.
Who knows? Honda might go in with Rick Ware as their factory team, But yeah, but wasn't there talk of Michael buying into like Spire or
yeah, well, the Game
like
Bridge
that
sponsorship involvement over there too?
Because I mean, that's some dots you could connect. Put Andretti buying out that team there with Honda as the manufacturer. I mean, especially if the Formula One thing, stays stalled. I mean, last I heard, GM is still fighting for it, but I wouldn't look to see them on the grid any sooner than 28. From what FOM is saying, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Honda things go down. But it just kind of like I said, we've been teasing this for years, but then like all of a sudden the last week or so, the rumors have really ramped up. I don't know whose loose lips are sinking ships somewhere, but there are definitely legs to this story. Something worth keeping an eye on. So, Lee, would you root for a Honda in NASCAR?
Yeah, I was surprised, and still am surprised they didn't kind of throw the hat in the ring, years ago. I know they've been trying, and it's honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to it. See what they bring, and go from there. But yeah, it's just surprising that they haven't gotten into that revenue stream this late in the game. I think they probably, once Toyota started making a name for themselves, what was that, 10 years ago or whatever it was? It really, honestly, it surprised me that they didn't get in sooner. If they're going to get in 26, good for them. I think it might be a step in the right direction.
During that era, I believe that Honda was actually supplying the entire field in IndyCar, and they were hanging their hat on 8,500 wins. But I think, at this point, Honda has plenty of Indy 500 wins to celebrate. I believe they're second on the all-time list right now, only behind Offenhauser. So, they might be time for them to turn their back on IndyCar and see, and then we'll just have to see how that plays out. So,
for a refresher, what has been for those who don't know, what is the all-around tension with Honda and IndyCar? Does it all go back to the hybrid ordeal?
I don't believe so. I think Honda really wants a third manufacturer in there because if you look how much the car count has increased in just the last 3 years, we've gone from having 22 to 23 cars on a weekly basis to really no less than 26, 27 every race, which puts a strain on just having, two manufacturers supplying the engines. And Honda would love for them to bring a third manufacturer in there so that they, could split that load with, one other manufacturer, and who would that be? I don't know, right? BMW, Porsche, BMW spent a lot of money putting a facility right on the infield of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You can maybe read something to that. You can maybe not, but certainly Toyota's name comes up every now and again, but Toyota has kind of publicly said they really have no interest in taking that route. And Toyota's got a lot on their plate with their NASCAR programs and their other programs that they're doing. So, I think that's Honda's main beef is the lack of the third manufacturer.
No, if they want competition, and also get rid of that heavy load, because you also have that engine cap where they'll only have a certain amount per manufacturer.
Right, yeah. So, but we'll have to see how that plays out. But that's a good segue into INDYCAR, which will be beginning its season this weekend at the St. Pete, which is one of the longer running street races in the country, only behind Long Beach at this point. Certainly it's a race that draws a good crowd. It's the world's fastest spring break, they like to call it. I think Marcus Ericsson won there last year. McLaughlin has run well there. Grosjean's run well there. We've seen some really good battles. Rossi's run well there. And again, first race of the season, we've seen a lot of testing. It's hard to tell, translate testing numbers into this. And this is literally, the field's really tight at the top there. We got a lot of faces in, new places. So it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out. Qualifying will commence Friday. And then we'll see how we're doing there. So, Louise, are you excited for St. Pete?
More curious how all those new drivers and new riders. You have Marcus Ericsson for Andretti. You have Roman Grosjean and Juncos. Wanda will not make their new team debut this week. It'll be David Malukas, who's injured, recovering from a wrist injury over a mountain bike.
Right.
Which is many times we've heard mountain bike incidents with McLaren drivers. It could be a long lecture, i.e. Montoya.
Montoya hurt himself playing tennis. Let's be fair. And Patrick.
It wasn't a mountain bike; it was a motorbike. But anyway,
and Patrick Carpentier did not crash a motorcycle. He fell down the steps with a suitcase. Yep. So anyway,
I wonder what Mike Bliss's excuse is for that had Steve Park in the truck or whatever, or Jack Stewart, whatever. Yeah. But anyways, but
to your point, it will be Callum Ilott.
Yeah.
Richard's countryman in that car, who showed a lot of promise last year, but wasn't able to capitalize to get a ride this year, mainly for the reason he was kind of let go really late in the game by Juncos. So at least he gets to showcase his skills in there.
For sure.
And then we've got another, a couple more rookies out there. Kiffin Simpson, certainly.
It's an interesting choice, but it got
Christian Rasmussen be another rookie out there, the Indy NXT guy. And then but let's talk about Dale Coyne announced their drivers. Partially, sort of. They sort of announced their driver lineup, right?
Yeah, it's just the opening few races of the year before the 500 comes into play. You have former Truck Series winner Colin Brown, multi-time sports car champion Colin Brown, I might add, because it's been for years, for a long time, he's always been rumored that he might get an IndyCar ride. This might be the year he'll get an IndyCar ride. How long has this been going on? Since probably when Robin Miller was still around. It's been a long time, and now they finally put something together for Colin to give IndyCar a go.
So he's going to run the first two races of the season at St. Pete and Thermal, and with the hope that he could do some more races this season. Now, Colin's got a pretty busy schedule that he's committed to. So that's what, other 15 races still up in the air who they're going to put in that car. A couple of names have come up here and there, but nothing really solid. Catherine Legg's name has come up here and there as well. Evidently, Honda's a big fan of hers, especially for the 500. Then, of course, the other car is going to be shared by Jack Harvey and Nolan Siegel. Nolan Siegel, young guy, he's actually competing full-time in Indy next, but he's going to do 4 IndyCar races, that being it'll be St. Pete, Thermal, Long Beach, and the Indy 500, which, interestingly enough, puts Jack Harvey out of a seat for the Indy 500. But who knows if we'll see Harvey in the the other car, the one that the 51
Yeah.
car, the Rick Ware car. So who
And
knows?
I wouldn't be surprised if he does end up in that car.
Maybe Cody Ware will show back up.
Yeah, I was trying to resent myself, refrain from saying, like, is there any rumors about Rick's kid being in it? So people forget.
All charges have been dropped.
Yep. He's free. So, but yeah, I'm I can't help but think that this year's championship is going to be either a Penske driver or a Ganassi driver. I mean, they've won every championship dating back to 2013. And then several before that. You said the one oddball Ryan Hunter-Reay snuck that one in 2012. So going all the way back to 2006 when Hornish won.
Yeah, so I think we have to go back to Panther to see someone not Penske, Andretti, or Ganassi.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah, because Andretti won a couple in the early, like 04, 05, 07 they won.
Yeah, and then then Ryan Hunter-Reay, and if you include the Champ Car stuff, by technicality it's Newman Haas, but if you include Newman Haas, then you still go back to Panther and Forsythe.
Right. So, yeah, but either way, I think it's going to be a really good season. I've said it last couple of weeks. I'll say it again. I'm putting my money on Scott McLaughlin wins the championship. So, Lee, what are you looking forward to in IndyCars this year?
Well, hopefully this year especially in St. Pete, because last year St. Pete seemed to be a little bit of a yard sale. Had some debris on the racetrack, starting right off the get-go, and then last lap had another incident. So I'd like to see a little bit cleaner race this year, hopefully. But like you said, Frank, first race of the year, it's really tough to go from testing to true race circuit like St. Pete and get what we got in testing onto the racetrack. So I don't know. I'm picking Scott McLaughlin to win this weekend's race, but I'm looking forward to, I think Award might be up in there too, fighting. So
yeah, I find it hard to look past Ericsson repeating there. I think he's really going to slot in well with Andretti. And speaking of Andretti, they've picked up Craig Hampson as an engineer who's not with the team immediately because he has to finish up a non-compete clause, but he's coming out of McLaren. But Craig Hampson has been around for a while. He was with Newman Haas. He's been with Andretti. This is a guy who knows his way around a race car. So he's coming in and taking a senior management role within Andretti, and that's a really sharp guy to add to the team there. I think he's gonna bring a lot to the table, and I really like Marcus for this race. Again, before first practice and qualifying, it's hard to go ahead and try to make your fantasy picks or anything. But that's kind of how I'm leaning. So, Richard, what are you looking forward to seeing in St. Pete? Besides
the racing one.
Yeah. Indy's got a long off season.
Yeah, and probably one of the longest off seasons in motorsport. But I'm really looking forward to actually a little bit later in the year, once we get past the 500, how they roll out these hybrid engines and how all that plays out. That's going to be fascinating to see. Just getting back to arguably one of those most level playing fields in motorsport, really, on the IndyCar side. So, excuse me, looking forward to good, close wheel-to-wheel racing and get back to a really fun track to watch these races at down in St. Pete. I think it's great. I'm just waiting for the day when a plane lands down the start-finish straight by accident, not realizing the airport's been shut.
Fortunately, we haven't got through. We've seen cars fly, like Lee said. There were a couple cars that got air, so hopefully we have less of that. And for Grosjean get his redemption, I'll be with a different team after that incident with McLaughlin. I put him out of the race, both of them.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how Grosjean's going to fare in the Juncos car. They're kind of,
they had like a good, good combo, but between the fans being all over Ilot's case and then letting him go, I really don't know what to expect from them. And this is
Yeah,
a
but
team
there's
that
a
got a
little
top
mess.
5 with Ilott.
Yeah, but Yunkos, they're midfield runners at best.
Yeah.
They get a guy in the top 5 when things sort of go their way or other guys run into trouble.
Yeah, and both of them were from Callum a year ago.
Exactly. Yeah. And
now he's got a job with McLaren.
Yeah. Well, he's got to fill in.
Yeah.
You got a one-off. Yeah. So
Yeah, it got a little bit messy that last year, didn't it? So I think they're all
And
glad
then
that one's.
the other team that was very disappointing last year was Meyer Shank.
Yeah.
And they had that powerhouse lineup of Elio and Pagano. This year they're going in with Rosenqvist and Blomqvist. They got the Qvist brothers.
Yeah, you have a lot of Vist in the field, and you could go to Linus Lundqvist, where Ganassi is running his first full year in the IndyCar.
Yeah,
I'm also curious how he's going to fare
in a Ganassi car. I'm curious how Ganassi is going to do with 5 cars full time.
Yeah,
I'm wondering if that's going to hurt them, or if they're going to have two good cars and 3, guys just getting by. You know what I mean? So.
I'll be interested. One team I'm interested to see how they do is McLaren. They didn't win a race last year, I don't think, and last year was the year they were supposed to kick on and really sort of start to lay the mark, and it just didn't really happen. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. I'm not massively sold on Malukas there in the car, and we'll see how that all plays out over the next few races. But big year for them, I think, because if they have another disappointing year without winning a race and without really challenging for any titles, it's probably a failed project, I'd imagine, because you think McLaren as an organization would be looking to be a little bit more competitive than that, I think.
Yeah, all that buzz, all that hype last offseason was always going to be McLaren Ganassi for the Indy 500. They're going to have a big month. And they did. They have the speed. They have the cars. But when it comes to the race, they've not been able to capitalize. Like how many races Rosenqvist was quick. Come race day, something falls apart. Pato, super quick. Just does, like St. Pete. A gremlin cost him the win. Like a mechanical problem. Hurt him. And then with Rossi was just there. So they got it. Simply put, they got to win if they're going to be considered part of that cool kid.
Yeah, well, I think Felix and Pato both found the wallet, Indy.
Yeah,
so and that's it. But they did have
help.
Yeah, that's part of they can't put a race together, whether it's incidental or the teams themselves.
Yeah, and like I said, Rossi, was supposed to be the savior coming over there, and he was disappointing at best.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, but Felix was the guy they sent packing. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I think somebody else we were talking about people who've got a big year coming up, and we've been talking about it for a number of years now. Is Colton Herta again? It's been last year wasn't a great year for him again. I don't think he won a race last year.
No, the only Andretti driver to win last year was
Kirkwood. Yeah,
that was it. Yeah. So it's like, he's the savior of American single seat racing, and where is it?
Yeah, there's videos on YouTube top pointing out her and not realizing the fact. Well, they did mention like one video I saw doesn't have the super license, but they don't fully go into why he doesn't have it. It's because of we both mentioned it time and time again. Like he's had races where he's in control, boom, but one mistake, game over.
Yeah,
but he can't.
The super license is based on results.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If you stick it in the wall, you're not going to get the results.
Exactly.
And, if Colton Herta had got his results in Formula 2 that he's had in INDYCAR, would he have got a super license? I don't think he would have done. So you can argue he doesn't deserve one. All this political, they're doing everything they can to prevent him from getting a super license, yada, yada, yada. He hasn't driven well enough.
No, you can't finish 9th and 10th in the championship and argue that you should have a super license. That's if he was running second or third consistently, fighting for that title, but he hasn't in 4 years.
No,
that's why there's very few that are eligible. Just most of them don't utilize it because they're happily content to run. Like, look at Pato. I think Pato has one because of the championship points, but also he's done the allotted miles for testing. Am I correct? The number of
Yeah,
so,
Pato qualified for a super license at the end of last year by finishing third in the championship.
Yeah, and also, what was it? He also re-signed, and he had a contract extension last week too, if I recall, with Pato.
That's another story there. Yeah, they gave Pato a big contract extension, and then they tacked on like another $12 million to their lawsuit against Palou. And they said, we'll need this money as well. So now they're up to $31 million from Palou. So, all right. So everybody got their picks in for St. Pete. I'm going Erickson. Lee, you're going McLaughlin. Louise, who do you like? Kirkwood, you said?
I mentioned Kirkwood was the only Andretti winner. We both. I like Kirkwood's chance. I think he'll be an interesting race guy to keep an eye on. So I'll go with him.
Okay, and Richard.
Ooh, Palou.
All right, there you go. Okay, so Lee, also in action this week, NHRA.
Yep.
So where are we headed?
We are off to Gainesville, Florida for the Gator Nationals. It's the kickoff event for the NHRA 2024 season. Looking forward to it. Going to start Friday night with qualifying during the day, and then everybody's favorite, the nighttime qualifying. Always a fan favorite. And then Saturday, we got one more round of qualifying, and the Pep Boys call out is Saturday. That used to be the two taste call out, which actually turned out to be a pretty decent little event last year. A lot of fans.
You say toothpaste? Really enjoyed
that. No, the tortilla, the two taste call out.
Oh, so you said toothpaste. They're really scraping the barrel for sponsors if they're going for toothpaste.
I'm sorry.
Oh, come on now. There used to be a toothbrush trophy that Casey Kane probably has or give it away to somebody.
Yeah, of course you got to remember, Dr. Jack Miller, the racing dentist who would hand out little tubes of Crest to fans in the early IRL. True story.
Oh boy!
And Jack Miller's son is currently running U.S. Formula 4 and doing quite well. So he's a lot quicker than his dad.
Carry on. We should talk, talk about it in a dentist podcast.
Sorry.
Does not get enough. Richard, I appreciate you bringing dental health to the forefront in the most.
Hey, I'm British. Community. I can't talk about that. So
So, and then Sunday we got eliminations, and so should be a good year this year. Show favorite Matt Hagan going for number 5 this year. He's going to start off the season. We'll see if he can't start the number 5 championship season off with a good way. The other news is Tony Stewart starts his career in Nitro this year. He was in Top Alcohol last season, so he's stepping up to fill in his wife while she's off taking care of family business this year, Miss Leah Pruitt. And then, Pro Stocks this year, another show favorite in Camry Caruso, see if she can back up what she did last year and get off to a good season. And hopefully she can, if she gets off to a good start, she can push that through the rest of the season. I know she kind of faltered after Phoenix last year, but we'll see how she does this season.
All right. Yeah. Good luck to her, right? So
now
let's we just got a couple minutes left. So, but we didn't make our picks for Formula One coming up, Saudi Arabia. Do we want to pick the winner, or do we want to do like we did last year and try to pick the second place finisher?
Well, we need to check with your buddy Ben Salim to see if he's going to change who finishes on the podium.
There you go.
Maybe he had picks on the show and didn't want to be left out.
Maybe you'll pick Carlos to win. It's like, hey, Carlos, one final year with Ferrari. He can still win. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of him.
Yep.
But my runner-up will be. I'm going with Lewis in this one, not Carlos.
All right, Lee. Who do you like for second place?
Lando Norris.
And Richard?
Leclerc.
All right, so that leaves me, Perez. So.
You got George, but yeah.
All right, and then we didn't. So NASCAR.
Hey, did anybody watch the NASCAR Netflix series yet?
I have not. I have my reasons.
Is it good?
I don't know. I put it in the queue Sunday night.
He's got to finish the ladies' series of The Real Housewives before he gets to that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, right. Yeah,
it's a riveting series. It's a riveting series this year, so very interesting. There's a lot of cross drama. Yeah.
I haven't watched reality TV shows since the Rock of Love days. If we're going there, I didn't even watch Farmer Wants a Wife, and yet someone I knew from college was in it.
Oh gosh! All right,
which I don't know why they have a second season, but whatever.
Because the farmer needs another wife. I don't know.
Yeah. Christian Horner needs. Oh no, sorry.
Sorry. Here we go.
Christian Horner needs a new personal assistant.
It was a travel. Oh, sorry, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so NASCAR, we're off to Phoenix, off to the desert. Richard, you will obviously root for Toyota. Lee, who do you like for
I don't
Phoenix?
care any of them, just one of them, please.
Please. Could be Ty Gibbs for all I care, right?
Hey, he looked good at Vegas.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He looked halfway decent in Vegas, and yeah. I think Kyle would have had a real shot at winning Vegas if you didn't have that drive-through there. But
yeah,
it's tough to do that when you're a lap and a half down. So,
all right, Lee. So who do you like? Who do you like for Phoenix?
I would like to see Brad Keselowski.
Okay.
This weekend.
Louise.
I think it's gonna be hard to get. It's hard to bet against a Ford here in this one. They showed strong pace. I'm gonna go with a curveball. I'm gonna go with Chris Buescher.
Okay. Yep. All right. So you guys both like Fords. Richard likes Toyota. So does that mean I need to pick a Chevy? Because I don't want to.
Just because I have a Ford in the backdrop, it does not mean I went with the obvious reasons. Because that's the champion photo in there. So that's
and this number comes from a Ford too. So.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. The other day, I was making a list of all the cars I've ever owned in my life, which is a ton. You know, when you count cars that I've owned that like ex-spouses and my kids have driven, but I've paid for and owned, right? And, I realized, I've never owned a Chevy. And the other thing is I've never owned a Honda. And those are the two INDYCAR engine suppliers.
Marketing works really well for them, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did own a Toyota once. I had a RAV4 silver, fun little car. So, all right. So, yeah, I'll say Ryan Blaney. I'll go with the Ford then. All right, and then we'll. No, you know what? I'm gonna go with Martin Truex. I'm gonna pick a Toyota, just because Richard needs a little love. He needs one. He needs one
no,
of
he
them.
Does not.
Sure, he does. Sure, look, he hasn't. He needs some. He hasn't changed his sweatshirt in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was just gonna allude to that.
What he needs is a laundry day. All right.
I need a haircut day. That's for sure.
Oh, me too. Yeah. Lee doesn't. Anyway, so. Gosh,
Lee, you put your hair on upside down today.
Right.
All right. Well, that's all.
That hair club for men's not working right. So I'm gonna go talk to them.
Oh God. All right. So anyway, that's got us out of time. I want to thank you three guys. I want to thank our producer Keith Hayes at Sinister One Productions. I want to thank Louise Torres Multimedia for sponsoring us as always. And I just love seeing that clip at the start of every show where Louise gets tackled by a girl.
Hey, mind you, that show that I was tracking down. She's gonna be #1 draft pick for Indiana Fever, guaranteed. Just watch.
There you go. I want to thank Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spotify. Most of all, I want to thank you folks that tuned in to watch us. We'll be back on in a week. Enjoy the races. Good night.
Night all.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching Drafting the Circuits. Make sure to follow Drafting the Circuits on Facebook, Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube. Drafting the Circuits is a Sinister One production.